Hello everybody. Here we are in the new year and it's time to get our first project going, and it involves being tagged by ArrowRidge channel. Jeremiah and Jess tagged us to do 5 reasons why we homestead. And I'll just start by saying that our homesteading experience, desire started a long time ago. Actually, old guy was raised as a homesteader, basically. He lived that kind of lifestyle as he was growing up. Into his adulthood, it wasn't quite so much like that, even though he did live out in the country and at one point raised a lot of hogs. But it was after he married me, which was 40 years ago, that I kind of got the homesteady kind of bug, and I suppose I probably pestered him into letting us have that kind of life. And we've done it a couple of different ways, a couple of different times in those years. We've lived out here where we live now on Bristle Ridge for, I think, like close to 25 years. I always have to stop and calculate up people's ages and okay, so and during that time here, we've done a lot of different things too. But the reasons why we want to homestead, the reasons why we want to live that kind of lifestyle over living in town and the town kind of lifestyle. So we've narrowed it down to 5 P's why we why we want to live the homestead life. The first P is that we're basically preppers at heart. We feel like we need to be prepared for whatever happens that would cause the need for preparation. I'm not saying that we've socked away a whole bunch of food, or that we've, you know, we aren't we aren't prepared that way, but we just feel like that we have learned enough things and that we're adapted to where we live, through where we live, that we can be prepared for a grid shutdown or any kind of natural disaster, unless it just kills us all, of course, for an extended period of time. I'll just say that the second reason that we like it out here, especially where we live, we're 1/4 of a mile off the road. Nobody can see our house. We can't see the road. We can only hear traffic down there sometimes. Is privacy. We have 50 acres here. Our house is basically in the middle of that 50 acres, and we have a lot of privacy. Nobody knows what we do unless they're flying over the top of us and looking down. And that actually does happen sometimes, because we live near Whiteman Air Force Base and they like to fly over. And whenever we first moved out here, I imagined they were flying over across. It was like they were driving across my front yard, because they fly over at a low altitude, and I felt like they were spying on me, but I know they weren't. Part of the privacy idea is that we don't have to have street lights shining into our house or into our yard. If we want yard lights, we can have them, which we, for the most part, choose not to. I've never really liked a yard light. I like it dark when it's dark, and light when it's light. And so we can go outside actually and see the stars, because there aren't lights surrounding us. There's also nobody peeking over our fence like a neighbor, wondering what we're doing. We don't have to answer to any homeowners associations like people who live in subdivisions do.
Our next P is privilege, and we feel very privileged to be able to live where we do, have our privacy, have our ability to make a living right where we live, and just to have life like we like to live it. We're fortunate in our county. We don't have a lot of county laws that interfere with everything you do. We homeschooled without any interference, and that turned out very well with our son. It's just an honor to be able to be our own boss and live in the fashion we want to do without having to obey a bunch of homeowners association rules. it's a real privilege to have your freedom.
And we actually don't even hardly have any regulations that we have to answer to anybody for, because our county has very few regulations even as far as zoning is concerned.
Another privilege we have 50 acres, and probably 40 of it is large timber. And so we have a lot of wood available at all times if we just cut it. And so we have 2 houses on the property. One of our sons and his wife and 4 children live on the same property, up the road a little bit, but on our property. And we both burn wood for heat. And so that makes a good thing for being able to provide your needs yourself. Someone around our homestead most of the time, which, you know, is a privilege. We have no fear of anyone coming in and doing stuff they shouldn't on our property, because we have people here most of the time. And so that's a real privilege too.
The final thing I'll talk about is protection. We feel like we are better protected out here, away from the city life and the craziness that the city life can bring. We feel like the children can go outside and play without danger. Living in the woods, can be a certain amount of danger. You know, somebody can get hurt, or wild animals could come out of the woods and do something. It's highly unlikely where we live, but we just feel overall that we are offered a lot more protection by living in the country and being a homesteader life than by living in a city and having to deal with all the things that the city.
Since we aren't going to do commercial vegetable farming this coming year, we are going to focus almost completely on producing food for it. Jeanette and myself and our 2 sons and wives and these 6 grandchildren, we're going to try to kind of raise food for us. And then besides the vegetables we have ducks and duck eggs to eat. We have quail and quail eggs to eat. We have lots of fish in our 4 ponds, which are pretty well stocked. Besides the wildlife of rabbits, squirrels, deer, turkeys, and probably some other stuff. But we will have a good supply of food available, and that's what we again are going to focus on basically, and try to learn to produce it efficiently and plentifully. And that is about the size of it.
Subjects us to. So that wraps up our 5 reasons that we homestead, and we're going to challenge Daybird Aviaries. They're a homesteading family, so to speak, that lives down in Alabama, and he has all kinds of cool birds at his place and other animals too. So go and check out Daybird Aviaries and see what their 5 reasons are for homesteading. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.